Hello, I'm Dr. Jessica Fush. I am a veterinarian and I'm also the creator of Farmers Market Fido, this YouTube channel. I'm going to start a series now. This is the first video in this series that is more science-based, more education-based. Normally I do recipes and it's basically a dog food cooking show, but because I'm a veterinarian, I feel like I need to explain the science behind why I'm doing this first. So this video is all about macros for dogs. First, I'm gonna explain what macros are, just in case you don't understand that, and then why that matters to your dogs and what you need to look for either in dog food or when you're cooking for your dog. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel and click the like button if you love information like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and start to explain to you what macros are. Now, a lot of people do know, and a lot of people are still very confused. It's very popular right now to talk about macros, to track macros. People are using this as a weight loss tool, as a health and wellness tool. And it's actually a really great idea because when I started tracking my own macros, I realized that I ate way too many carbs, really. Of course, carbs are yummy, we like them, your dogs feel the same way, but it's not really the most nutritious macro. And for dogs especially. So it's a little bit different for people, and I am not going to talk about that because I'm a veterinarian and this is a dog food cooking show. But the macros that we track are protein, carbs, and fat. There's three macros. Those are macronutrients. Those are the basic building blocks for all the foods. Proteins are meat, basically, but you can get protein in a lot of other things like soybeans, and there's a little bit of protein in a lot of grains and some vegetables as well. And then carbs are our grains. Carbs are found in vegetables to a lower extent. And fats are, well, we all know what fat is, right? We have it on our body, but there's fats that you can find in vegetables. Also, the avocado is very popular right now. I love avocado. It has healthy fats. Oils like olive oil, coconut oil is all over the news, and that's gonna be a separate video. But those are sources of fats. Proteins, carbs, and fats, those are your those are your macronutrients, okay? And those are the things that make up the bulk of your diet. And they actually do contain the micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals, and that will be a separate video. All right, so now that we know what the macronutrients are, what they're named, let's talk about AAFCO. That is the organization that regulates dog food and decides how much of each nutrient a dog needs. All right, so AAFCO has decided the minimum requirements for all the nutrients that we are aware dogs need. AAFCO has decided a few maximum requirements for some micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins that could actually harm or kill your dog if they get too much. There's a maximum for some of those things, but most of the things they've only decided the minimum, which means that this is the amount of protein, fat, or carbs, or vitamins or minerals that your dog needs to live, okay? The minimum requirement to not die, to probably be healthy, right? That's the minimum requirement to be healthy. So the minimum requirement for an adult dog, protein, is 18% on a dry matter basis. That means the dry kibble, the dried out processed food, 18% of this combination needs to be protein for them to not die. And then fat, they've decided the minimum requirement is 13.8%. 13.8% of the food on a dry matter basis needs to be fat. There is no minimum requirement listed for carbohydrates. Why is this? A, dogs are carnivores, essentially. They are omnivores. They can eat vegetables and they can eat carbs and they can live on those things too, but they don't need to have carbohydrates, not in the way that people do and that other animals do. So that's an interesting fact, is that there is no minimum requirement for carbohydrates listed by AAFCO. There is also another reason. Dog food is incredibly high in carbohydrates because in order to make a kibble, an extruded little dry piece of dog food, you have to have carbohydrates. You can't stick protein and fat together and create a little cracker. You just can't do it. You have to have carbohydrates. So even grain-free foods have a lot of carbohydrates. They're going to use things like potatoes or lentils or something like that. They're going to be very high in carbohydrates. So you're never going to not have enough carbohydrates for the dog who actually doesn't really need the carbohydrates in the first place. Those are your AAFCO minimum requirements. So this is the video that's just discussing what is macros for dogs and what the AAFCO requirements are. There will be later videos that discuss some of the newer theories on what dogs actually need, but there's raw feeding and there's other ancestral diet, for example, and we will have separate videos on what those are. But for the most part, they say that your dog should just be eating protein, fat, and bone, essentially, and some greens, some vegetables. I think a good balanced diet for a dog works because they've evolved to live with people. So basically, they're pretty used to eating what people eat to an extent, not what people eat today, not junk food. Please don't feed your dog McDonald's. Oh my God, so many people feed their dogs McDonald's. Please stop doing that, okay? But the protein, fat, and carbs, really, dogs need protein and fat to a much lesser extent carbs, and that's how I'm going to formulate most of my recipes in Farmers Market Fido, and we will discuss a lot more of this fun science in future videos. Please click the like button if you like this, and please comment below what you learned from this video and any questions that you still actually don't have answered about macros for dogs and these components. And there's going to be a separate video about micronutrients, and those are probably going to need to be separated into smaller chunks because there's a lot of micronutrients. There's gonna be a lot of discussion about micronutrients, and I'm really, really passionate about nutrition for dogs, and I just love geeking out on this stuff. So thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, and I look forward to making lots more videos just like this for you.